Hello, everyone. Welcome back to an edition of the Live Ones Daily Edition. My semi-summer vacation is over. We are ready to get right back in the swing of things. And hey, folks, if you haven't been paying attention to my deep dive videos lately, college football is back. In case you needed any more clarification on that, we're going to have ourselves a great time in the next couple of months. We're hitting that stride of the year where all four major sports are about to be going on at the same time. We're going to have tons to do. We're going to get back into the regular daily swing of things with baseball again. Just a rest, recharge, and we're ready to go now. We're going to kick back off with the headlines today. Bad news for the Carolina Panthers coming out of last night's preseason game. You know, it was bad enough right before the game. There was a severe thunderstorm with lightning in the vicinity of the stadium. They had to put a shelter-in-place alert up, but it was it was a little bit before the beginning of the game, so there were still thousands of fans who hadn't made it into the stadium yet. They were still out there waiting to get through the turnstile, but the shelter-in-place order goes up. They stopped taking tickets, and these poor fans got absolutely soaked by the rain out on the main concourse area for a good half hour before somebody got the friggin' hint and started letting them in. But Sam Darnold had to be carted off the field with what looked like an ankle injury. Matt Rule has already named Baker Mayfield the starting quarterback, but not in a very not long-term committed way. Anyways, Darnold suffered a high ankle sprain. He's probably going to be out for the next 6 weeks, which means he'll miss the first month of the regular season. And this after third-round pick Matt Corral suffered a season-ending tear in his Lisfranc in last Friday's preseason loss at New England. So the Panthers, they're just getting their quarterbacks torn to pieces one by one here in the preseason. This is why a lot of teams really are hesitant to really go all out with preseason, and that's why you almost never see starters out there anymore. So the Panthers are down to Baker Mayfield, and they still haven't cut former Temple quarterback and former XFL star P.J. Walker, so obviously they can't now. Anything happens to Baker, the Panthers are beyond screwed, and Matt Rule's likely to be looking for his next job. Like I said, we've got college football today. We've got baseball to go over. I'm so excited for this. Let's get right to it, and we're going to start with the main event today. It's a little experiment they're running, still trying to spread American football across the pond. A Big Ten matchup featuring Nebraska and Northwestern from Aviva Stadium in Dublin, Ireland. Home of the Ireland rugby union team, the Irish national soccer team. Yeah, I know they call it football over there. I don't want to confuse anybody. The stadium's actually really nice, looking at pictures of it. No one has any idea how this is going to go, but I figure you put Big Ten football players in front of a crowd of Irish sports hooligans with the smash mouth ground and pound style the Big Ten tends to play, especially the Big Ten West. Something interesting is going to happen. The actual game has seen a whole ton of betting action. The line opened at Nebraska minus 12.5. I saw it jump up to 13.5. Sharps are coming in on Northwestern this morning. Now it's down to 11.5. The total opened up at 50.5. It was down to 49.5 last night. The over is getting hammered this morning. It's all the way up to 51.5 now. I think I even saw 52 at one book. I can see both sides of this. Northwestern was a terrible team last year on both sides of the ball. They didn't have the stout defense that was advertised, not by a long shot. The Wildcats allowed 6.3 yards a play a season ago to rank 111th in college football. What's worse is the Wildcats only have 5 returning starters on defense, and their one good piece, Chris Bergen, the only guy on the team who remembered how to play football at a high level last year, he's gone. So safe to say we're baking in Nebraska scoring a whole bunch of points today. A lot of changes have taken place at Nebraska this offseason, if you saw my Big Ten preview earlier in the week. First of all, obviously, former Texas quarterback Casey Thompson's now under center for the Cornhuskers. The Adrian Martinez era is mercifully over. I felt like he was quarterback in Nebraska for like 8 years with all the extra years of eligibility that were put in between COVID and everything. But secondly, you got Mark Whipple now as the offensive coordinator after running the most explosive Pitt offense I can ever remember seeing last season. In terms of pace, Nebraska came in at 2.4 plays per minute last season, which ranked in the top 40. At Pitt, Whipple played even faster, 2.48 plays per minute. But is Northwestern going to be able to contribute their share to the total? Will they even be remotely improved on offense? You got to remember, even when Northwestern is winning in the Big Ten West, the offense is never any good. That's kind of part of the deal and the style in a weird way. You are baking in low point totals into every Northwestern game any given year. I know Nebraska murdered Northwestern last year. They put up 56 points by themselves, but I still don't trust this total. I'm too wary to take the over. I'm much more interested in Nebraska's team total over of 32.5. Scott Frost's seat is the single hottest seat in college football. He's got to show improvement in this program this year. This has to be a statement game for him. I think he puts his foot down on the gas pedal today and does not let up. I don't think Northwestern's going to be able to stop them. Give me Nebraska's team total over 32.5. I think they could easily put up a number in the low 40s today over in Dublin. Let's move on over to North Texas and UTEP. The North Texas found its footing in the second half of last year. They switched offensive styles to run first, and it worked because they rattled off 5 straight wins to end the season that looked completely lost, and they went bowl eligible. The offensive success today likely continues as they return 8 starters on that side of the ball. Rushing attack that averaged 235 yards a game on the ground. They do lose DeAndre Torrey, but they should be fine as Oscar Adaway III returns from injury. He should be able to step right up into that role. Anytime a team's run heavy, even at the college level where the tempo is usually faster, you figure on them keeping their total low as they're chewing up a lot of time with the clock not stopping between plays on incomplete passes. On the UTEP side, staying with North Texas, when Austin does pass, it tends to not be for big plays. He averaged just 6.7 yards an attempt while completing 51% of his passes a year ago. Not great stats. UTEP also loves running the ball and grinding the game down to a halt. They were ranked 110th in plays per game last year and just have not gotten any big explosive playmakers coming up to make that likely to change this year. I love the under in this game. 55 is just way too much to expect these teams to put up together. They both play ground and pound, grounded out football. This game's going to be a slugfest. Give me the under 55 points today. Over to baseball. Yeah, let's not forget about baseball. It's got another month in the playoffs left in the season, and we got a great edge today in the Rays-Red Sox game, which features Jeffrey Springs versus Rich Hill. You got the Rays minus 125 on the board everywhere on the money line. That's just not even close to high enough given the pitching mismatch on the mound. Through 25 appearances this season, Jeffrey Springs is 6-3 with a 2.46 ERA and 1.08 WHIP. Over his last 4 starts, Springs is 3-0 with a 1.66 ERA and a WHIP under 1. So, he's been in particularly great form here in the month of August. Rich Hill has not been great on the mound overall this season, but his recent form is admittedly better. With the exceptions of starts against Atlanta and Houston, 2 of the best lineups in baseball, Hill has given up 3 or fewer earned runs in each of his last 7 starts. However, this is really important. It's important to remember that those numbers don't reflect the fact that Hill is never good for more than 5 innings max. He more frequently pitches 4. So we do have to look at the Red Sox bullpen. Not great, particularly recently. 4.83 ERA with a 1.61 WHIP. Collectively, they had a bad clunker last night against these same Rays. They gave up 4 runs in the 8th inning. I play the Rays money line here all the way up to minus 150 with this matchup today. Getting it at minus 125 is a bargain. Take the Rays straight up on the money line. The chalk is worth it. Last but not least, 7 o'clock game tonight, the Mets and the Rockies. The Mets are going to look to make it 3 straight in the 3rd game of their 4-game series against the Rockies. The Mets took the opening game 3-1 on Thursday behind the unstoppable Jacob deGrom. Pete Alonso's walk-off hit capped off a comeback win to send the Mets to 81-46 last night. The Rockies are starting Kyle Freeland today, who's not having a great year to say the least. He has a 7-8 record and a 4.93 ERA in 24 starts. He's really struggled lately with a 6.45 ERA in the month of August. Scheduled to start for the Mets on today is David Peterson with a 6-3 record and a 3.44 ERA. Much more reliable, much better. The Mets needed this series after getting spanked by the Yankees in the Bronx, and they've lost 3 out of their last 4 prior to the series. Having Atlanta come all the way up to just 2 games back on them. How about the run Atlanta's on? Rockies are just so unspeakably bad away from Coors Field. They're 18-40 on the road this year. Mets are going to take this one easily. The mismatch is just so strong. There's no value on Colorado, even as a plus 220 dog. Giving the Mets on the run line, minus 1.5. You can get it for minus 115 at a couple of books. That is my 4th and final play for the day. Everyone bet safe, stay safe. I miss saying this. Follow us on Twitter at Live One Sports. Check us out on Roku and Fire TV at The Live Ones. Have a great Saturday. Enjoy the start of college football, and I will see you next time.